Welcome to the first of our 4 UK launch shows celebrating the 2014 release of the Creative Cloud with a focus on photography and digital imaging.
We're here at the Village Underground in Shoreditch and we'll be joined by the incredibly talented Madam Peripetie along with some of the Adobe Worldwide Evangelists and much more.
And they'll also be joining me up here behind the scenes in the tube for a whole host of extra creative inspiration and insights. There'll be loads to spark your creativity as well as a healthy sprinkling of hands-on demonstrations of the Creative Cloud products, Adobe's biggest release since CS6. You can join the conversation on Twitter by using the hashtag #CreateNow. But before we get started, take a look at these fantastic prizes that are up for grabs in the 2014 Creative Cloud competition. Picture yourself being based here at the Village Underground in the heart of Shoreditch with tons of creative tools and assets at your fingertips. Sound good? Then this is the competition for you.
We're giving you the chance to win 3 months of workspace in this very tube. Plus 12 months membership to the Creative Cloud with all the latest creative apps and services. And a 12-month membership to the Fotolia image library to download and use up to 25 royalty-free image assets a month.
Wow, and as well as that, you'll also be getting your hands on a Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet for precision creative working. I think that's pretty much got it covered.
It certainly does.
All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning all of that is to tweet us a photo of you in the place where you currently work, wherever that may be.
Tweet your photo using the hashtag #CCWorkspace, and if you are the lucky winner, you can start your placement anytime between the 1st of September 2014 and the 31st of May 2015.
It's an incredible, unique collection of prizes and everything you need to kickstart your creative career.
So get tweeting those CC Workspace selfies right now.
Here's what's coming up in the digital imaging show. We have presentations and tube insights from our Adobe Evangelists Rufus, Michael and Jason. Our stunningly creative luminary speaker, photographer Madam Peripetie, will also be sharing with us some hugely valuable tips and insights as to how she's achieved success in the industry. Along with all of that, there'll be a whole host of Creative Cloud demonstrations to help you extend your creativity. The 2014 release of the Creative Cloud is a big one, the biggest in fact since CS6 launched in spring 2012. Let's head over now to the main stage to hear a little bit about what's new.
Let's get started. First up, to give us an overview of what's new in the Creative Cloud and why it's such a landmark release, please welcome Adobe Worldwide Evangelists Rufus Deuchler and Michael Chäize.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this brilliant venue. This is really it's brilliant. I love it. This poster up there. And we're really excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about the Creative Cloud and why the Creative Cloud. Let me start by asking, how many of you are on Creative Cloud already? Our faithful members, thank you. CS6? CS5, CS4.
Yeah, that's me.
CS,
okay.
Yes.
I have it.
Oh, you have him? Okay, down there. Okay. And the photography plan. Anybody has subscribed to the Adobe Creative Cloud photography plan? Nobody. Okay, so we'll be talking about that too. But before we start, there's one number that I want to share with you. A few weeks ago, we announced that we have gone over the 2.3 million members inside of the Creative Cloud. And that obviously means that we have to say thank you 2.3 million times thank you. Did he say something? He said something.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Maybe he said thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
It's one of them.
All right. So what is this, this whole activity around Creative Cloud about? Well, first of all, let's have a look at what happened in the past 10 years. And what happened is that there's been extreme changes and innovations in 3 specific areas of our lives. And that's mobile devices have become an integral part of our life. We have them in our pockets, in our purses. We carry them around. We do things with them. And what is changing now is that these mobile devices are not only for consuming information, but also for creating the information. And we'll see how Adobe approaches that, that concept with a few new apps that we're presenting today. Of course, the social aspect of the internet and the social aspect of being a creative professional is also very important. And you will see that we've worked for this new release of the Creative Cloud on the social aspect of the creative identity of a creative professional. And of course, cloud, because cloud becomes also something that, that we use constantly, be that the Creative Cloud, be that our email, which is hosted in the cloud, be that files hosted in the cloud. The cloud is becoming part of our lives. So these are the three commodities that we at Adobe are building upon for the next decade. And one of the other things that is really important is that the new frontier for us is not so much specific applications, specific features, but the experience around all of them, the experience of the creative professional with these, with our tools and our services and our solutions. So just before I dive into the Creative Cloud, a few weeks ago, we came up with the results of a survey that we did with thousands of creative professionals, and there's three numbers I want to share with you tonight. The first one is about customers and agencies and designers themselves who say that 70% of them say that design has become the essential part of their business. In the past, we used to create a service or a product and then think about the design around it. Well, now we're seeing that the design part becomes at the beginning of that whole process. We design the product together with a creative professional. Another number that's interesting is that 70% of the creative professionals we interviewed said that they are already creating content for mobile devices, be that apps, be that interfaces for web content that fits on a portable device, etc. So that's huge. That's very many people who are already creating content for mobile devices. And then, that's also very interesting for us, because we're already answering that need. 50% of creative professionals say that they are using their mobile devices to actually start their creative process, and to begin with the ideation phase, to collect ideas, to get inspiration. And we have quite a few tools to do just that. So, the Creative Cloud is all about being connected. It's about design applications. It's about video applications, which is also a very essential part of the whole creative process. And of course, mobile. And all of these things together make the Creative Cloud. So let me go through all of these one by one. Let's start with the connected part. And here it's quite interesting to see how we can leverage the Adobe ID that each one of us has to actually create a creative profile to help you in your creative life. And with the 2014 release of Creative Cloud, we're actually leveraging that creative profile to enable you to have your cooler colors always with you, be that on mobile devices, be that in your applications, your design applications. We're working more and more also with Behance to enable creatives to share their work. All of the mobile applications I will be talking about actually support sharing work in progress to Behance, support sharing your work to your professional portfolio on Behance. And all of that creates a conversation between creatives. Okay? So this connected aspect is really, really important. And we'll see that we also have a new version of Lightroom Mobile for the iPhone. So all of this works together with the creative profile, with the images in Lightroom, with the colors in all of the apps, Typekit, and all of these things. So there's very interesting things happening around that connected sphere. And then, of course, design. We're launching, I don't like the word launching so much, but we're introducing 14 brand new versions of the applications. And many of you will ask, why? I thought the cloud was like continuous innovation and that we will never have a new version anymore. Well, there comes a time when a new version is necessary because the hardware changes, the formats change, the standards change, and therefore we need a new building block to build upon for the next year. Okay? So Creative Cloud is still about continuous innovation with features coming in as they are ready from our engineers, but we needed that new building block, which is the Creative Cloud, the 2014 release of the Creative Cloud. And what we've done with all of these apps is work on these 4 things. On performance, obviously, and that includes Photoshop, the video products, Illustrator. Illustrator's become super snappy on the new Windows machines, for example. It's very, very fast. On workflow efficiencies, enabling creative professionals to share their work with others, to send files to their clients, to use our cloud services to have an efficient workflow. And also, workflow efficiencies are ways to make your mobile apps communicate with your desktop apps as well. And then we also made the software ready for the new hardware and new formats that are coming out, new video formats, new imaging formats. And of course, there's always some Adobe magic. And Michael will be talking to us about that Adobe magic. And then we took all of the things that we introduced at NAB a couple of months ago. That's a big trade show for broadcast video in the USA, in Las Vegas. And all of these new features are coming into, or are already inside of the 2014 release of Creative Cloud. Then talking about mobile, we're introducing new apps. We are introducing new sketching apps. And Adobe Sketch is an app that is linked to your Behance account, which enables you to sketch very nicely on an iPad. Adobe Line is an application that lets you create more precise sketches with straight lines, with the ability to create circles and use French curves, be very precise. And Photoshop Mix, which we will see in a second, is an application on the iPad, again, that enables us to leverage technologies that we have built by Adobe, but in the cloud. You'll see that's quite fascinating. And then we're also introducing Ink and Slide, which is a set of tools. It's a digital pen and a digital ruler. And these 2 tools work great with our application Line because it enables us to draw very precise sketches on the iPad. And the pen is actually based on pixel point technology by Adonit and has over 2,000 pressure levels in it. And the cool thing about it is that it is connected to the cloud. So if I use that little button on the pen itself, I can open my whole Creative Cloud, my creative identity. With my cooler colors, I can send pictures to the cloud. I can even copy-paste things in a virtual clipboard that is enabled by this pen. And this is a set of objects that it has already shipped in the US and will ship in the rest of the world very, very shortly. All right, so all of these things, the connected aspect of it, the design, the video, and the mobile, this is what Creative Cloud is for us today. And just to let you know, Lightroom Mobile, Photoshop Mix, Adobe Line, and Adobe Sketch are available already on the App Store. So go ahead and download them. You don't necessarily need the hardware tools like the pen, slide, and ink. You can use your fingers or other pens to work with them. So feel free to start working with those and enable new things in your workflow. And we're also introducing a permanent price for the photography plan. This used to be a promotion. From now on, this is the price for Photoshop, Lightroom, the services, the mobile applications, and that's $878 a month, including VAT. So this is a price for that plan. So no more promotion. This is for everyone, and you don't even need to have an older version of Photoshop or something to upgrade from. So if you start from 0, this is a great plan if you are a photographer. And with that, just to finish these slides, major desktop updates, the Creative Cloud plan for photography, the connected mobile apps, which I've just talked to you about, and cloud-connected services, your creative profile always with you inside of your Creative Cloud experience. And that's the 2014 release of Creative Cloud. And you can download it now. Let's see how these things work, Michael.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rufus. So we will see together how you can use Lightroom and Lightroom Mobile, because it's a perfect example of the benefits of the cloud. It's a backbone for your creative process. You start working on your desktop, and eventually you want to get pictures on the go, maybe in the tube. And you want to sort the pictures, reject some pictures, maybe start editing some pictures directly on your iPad, and why not on your iPhone? So I will show you how it works. And as you said, the photography plan for less than £9 a month, you get all the updates of Photoshop CC, all the updates of Lightroom. You can use Lightroom Mobile and even Photoshop Mix. So how does it work? You have your pictures on your desktop in Lightroom, okay? And you want to sync some of these pictures in the cloud so that you can access them from your iPhone or your iPad. You just have to create collections, okay? It's very classic in Lightroom. And if you right-click, you see that you can now sync with Lightroom Mobile, okay? So every time I will add a picture, such as this espresso cup I've been working on, in the collection, it will send to the cloud, not the entire picture because it would be too heavy, okay? And it will take all the space on your devices, but a smart preview, which is a technology we have introduced in Lightroom 5. So it's less than 1% in terms of size of the original picture, but you get all the necessary data to be able to edit the picture and enjoy it on your screen. So now if we switch to my iPad, you can get, by the way, Lightroom Mobile. Okay, it's free. It's on the App Store. And you directly access your collections. And you have a very nice experience that has been with a user experience just for your finger, okay, with a touch experience. So you can access the collection. You can switch to full screen, and then I can swipe my finger and quickly review my pictures. I can also, using my finger, if I swipe up, say, OK, I want to pick this one. This one, I don't like it, so I will reject it. And all these parameters are synced with my desktop, so that if I go back to my desktop, I have the flagged pictures, and I can delete the rejected pictures. Then I can also switch here and add a mark. OK, so let's say it's a 3-star picture. And this is how you work. If you have a picture and you don't know if it's a good one, maybe you want to try a different mood, you can start editing the picture directly on your iPad. So let's try this one. Okay, I don't really like it for now, but maybe we should try a deep black and white. So I will open the settings, black and white. And by the way, the settings are optimized also for mobile devices, which means that if you take a picture with your iPhone, we have specific settings that will make them beautiful, okay, and reveal the beauty of your pictures. So let's try this one. A black and white film, okay, it's getting better. I can be more precise and get all the settings that I will have usually in Lightroom, but just using the sliders, reveal the shadows, maybe add some clarity to make it more dramatic. And I will crop it because I don't need the woman on the right. And that's it. You don't have to save. You don't have to do anything, because all the settings, all the editing are already sent to the cloud and already on my desktop and on my iPhone. And this catalog of Lightroom pictures, you can access them from your Lightroom app, but also from the website. If you visit adobe.com, if you sign in with your Adobe ID, you can access these pictures directly from the website, and also from other mobile apps, such as Photoshop Mix, because Photoshop Mix has been developed on top of a new SDK, the Creative SDK. This is something we will talk more about during Adobe Max. It's our big conference. It will be the first week of October. But in 2 words, what I can share is that Adobe is actually exposing features and sharing features that are in Photoshop for years to other mobile application developers. So it's not only an access to the Creative Cloud to exchange files, it's an access to our technology. So let me show you how it works. With Photoshop Mix, let's say you have an idea, you want to mix pictures, okay? So I will take a picture of Jason that you will see in a few minutes. I took this picture yesterday in Düsseldorf, actually. Where is he? Here he is. And I want to cut out Jason from the picture because I don't need the background, okay? I just want to use a Jason picture in this case. So it will load, fortunately, the picture from the cloud. Come on. Yeah, it's coming. Here you go. So we have Jason. You can change the look, edit some settings, but I will use cut out, and I will do it as I would do in Photoshop with the quick selection tool, but this time using my finger. So here we go. I take one leg, another one, the hand. It will automatically detect the edges, and it will use the refined edge technology. So I have some ground here that I don't need, so I will say subtract. Again, using the figure, I subtract the information, and that's it. And as I said, it's using the refined edge technology, so it's not pixelated, it's something very precise. Okay, with other apps, you would have a very pixelated experience. Here, beautiful mask directly within the app. Okay, now that we have Jason, we may want to use another picture by someone from here, okay? A photographer, maybe Ian Macmillan, for instance. So let me add a background image here. That is on my iPad. Here we go. Maybe you know this picture. So now I can take Jason, and maybe he can photobomb the picture, say, hey, I'm in the back, guys. Or maybe he can show off a little bit and say, no, I was Paul. Okay, yes. I'm better than Paul. Okay. Or maybe I am the fifth Beatles. But what is cool is that you can say, OK, I want to share this picture on the social networks. It's super fun. I will collect a lot of likes. But what is better is that you can say, save to Photoshop. And it will open on your desktop Photoshop. It will create a PSD file with 2 layers so that you can work and continue working on this file and adjust the layer that is applied on JSON in this case. Okay? It's a great new workflow. But that's not it. There is more with Photoshop Mix. As I said, we are exposing in the cloud our technologies, including super powerful features and filters that you only find in Photoshop on your desktop. So if I take in my Lightroom catalog this picture, for instance, typical use case, you are too close to the topic, to the subject, and you have distortion. So in Photoshop, there is the upright filter. Here, I cannot run it because it will consume a lot of power on my iPad. So I will say upright in Photoshop Mix. What is this doing? It's sending data to the Creative Cloud. Then there is a filter running in the Creative Cloud that will analyze the image, the energy of the image, and bring back some data so that I can upright the picture on my iPad. I have 3 proposals. Let's try the first one, adjust it, and here we go. Okay, I can say, okay, that's good. Then I crop the picture, and I'm done. So let's try something more difficult now. The content-aware technology. Who is using the content-aware fill in Photoshop? Some of you? Yeah. Very nice. Again, you cannot run it on the iPad. It will melt. Okay, it will become a piece of plastic. So we will run it in the cloud. Okay, so let me take a picture. Okay, let me take this shot of Bianca. So I will say content-aware fill. Again, using my finger, you select what you want to remove. Okay, so let me pick the shadow and the arm. Looks good. I press fill. Again, it will analyze the picture, just send some data, not the entire picture. Okay, and she disappeared. Yeah. Well, this is content-aware fill on your iPad. And by the way, Photoshop Mix is free, so if you have an iPad, you can download it now. It's available on the App Store. And this is just one story we wanted to share to show you one of the main benefits of the cloud. It's really this backbone in your creative process and this link between all your devices with the Adobe technology. Okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Picture yourself being based here at the Village Underground in the heart of Shoreditch with tons of creative tools and assets at your fingertips. Sound good? Then this is the competition for you.
We're giving you the chance to win 3 months of workspace in this very tube. Plus 12 months membership to the Creative Cloud with all the latest creative apps and services. And a 12-month membership to the Photolia image library to download and use up to 25 royalty-free image assets a month.
Wow, and as well as that, you'll also be getting your hands on a Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet for precision creative working. I think that's pretty much got it covered.
It certainly does.
All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning all of that is to tweet us a photo of you in the place where you currently work, wherever that may be.
Tweet your photo using the hashtag #CCWorkspace, and if you are the lucky winner, you can start your placement anytime between the 1st of September 2014 and the 31st of May 2015.
It's an incredible, unique collection of prizes and everything you need to kickstart your creative career.
So get tweeting those CC Workspace selfies right now. Next up is a very talented photography luminary who's here to share with us her unique vision and thoughts on creativity. I have heard a lot of wonderful things about this lady. Her work is incredibly striking, vibrant and imaginative. So, she's already on the stage, so I don't need to welcome her. Please give a round of applause to Silvana Zybura, aka Madam Peripetie.
Wow, guys, that was amazing. When I came here, actually, I came here before 6, so I saw some presentations. And everything is so geeky, and I'm thinking, I thought that I'm geeky, but I'm not, in comparison to all this work. And I will talk today about creativity and what creativity is to me and how I see it. So I won't really cover all this technical stuff and the cloud and I will talk more about this creative side of my work. And what is really interesting, maybe I start with my name. My background is in linguistics and in political science. So when I started, I always wanted to do something visual, but I can't draw. Absolutely cannot draw. I tried so many times, I just can't do it. And if you apply for a course in photography, you need to know how to draw. But somehow I managed, so after I studied photography, but before that, I didn't want my work to be associated with my name, so I came up with the word peripetie, that means a turning point, and for me, photography was a turning point in my career. It completely changed my life from being really solid in terms of financially and in terms of work every day, going to the office, to really bizarre and creative and a little bit of a roller coaster. And for me, from the very beginning, it was very important to define who I am and to finding my niche. Because I was the only person in my photography course that was doing something completely different, no one could relate to. And I found it at the very beginning very confusing, because of course, if you having a course in photography, you need somehow to relate to people or to certain references. So when we're showcasing our work, everyone could contribute with their opinion. But when I showed my work, no one really could, because people didn't know where to really place it. And So for me, it was always very important to define who am I actually? Am I a photographer? What am I doing? And I always work around the body and with a human body, turning it into sculpture. So I call myself very often an image maker and creative director rather than a photographer, because photography is a medium that I found very interesting in terms of visualizing my ideas. But for me, it's not enough. And so I'm trying always to explore different avenues. And also many, when I give talks or give workshops to students, many ask me how you can find your niche. And I think what is very important is just to find out what your interests are. Like I absolutely, when I was a teenager, an absolute science fiction nerd. So I was going to all the conventions, making my weapons, and never interested in princesses, but rather with guys with swords. So somehow find what you love doing, and just do it, and try to persevere in what you do. So for me, it was always about character design, and I absolutely love putting things together that maybe don't work together when you look at them. And so I always worked with the body, around the body, with sublime beauty. I was always interested in what is actually beautiful. And I realized that people, I will show you a few images in a minute, because it's probably a little bit abstract when I'm talking without images. But when you show your work to someone, they found it beautiful, but also they don't like it, or they are some kind of disgusted. And I was really interested in this kind of feeling why people at the same time love it, but they also don't like it really. What is this inconfidence about? And I show you the first images. I was experimenting when I started my photography course. There was a course that was perfect for me. It was called The Beauty of an Object. And we had to extract the object from its normal environment and put in a completely different one, in a Dada one, surreal one. And I got really inspired. And when you're a student, you don't really have money, so you try to find a way to make it work. And I was experimenting with a human body, and I remember showing this work to my tutor, and she said, "But what is this? I don't understand it. What do you want to say with this? I think you should make it more monochrome and reduce the color range and maybe a little bit more something understandable." And I said, "No, this is what I want to do. This is what I had in my head. This is my interpretation." And the series became really popular because at that time, many artists started working with a human body. And lots of different description of this kind of work arrived. It was body architecture that was coined by Lucy McRae. I don't know if you know her. She's originally an engineer, but working with a human body. And also body as a living sculpture. That was coined by the absolutely amazing, visually stunning theater director, Robert Wilson. And this series became really popular, and it doesn't work? It doesn't work? Oh, yeah. So I was published in almost every possible book about character design and about representation of body in art. And for me, it was kind of a confirmation that I'm going in the right direction, that maybe it's not about comparing myself to someone else, it's more about finding my own language and trying to strive for as much quality as I can and getting as much feedback as I can, also from people who I admire, who, I think it's for creative people, it's not an easy task to take criticism, because it's your labor of love. You're doing it. You are putting everything into it, and someone says, "I don't like it," or "What is this? I don't understand it." And to be that confident in order to say, "Listen, this is what I do. This is what I'm working on," and just strive for this for the quality of your work. I was doing lots of research about creativity. What is creativity for me? What is creativity in general? And I found, for me, creativity is a muscle. It's like a muscle memory you develop when you're going to the gym. At the very beginning, your body rejects it, and you're sweating, you can't do it, you think, I can't really do it. But then if you keep consolidating this kind of idea of, okay, I'm getting creating every day, it's a very repetitive thing, then it's becoming better and better, and I think everyone is creative in their own way. Of course, you need the talent and you need ideas, but I think lots of those things you can learn, or you can learn by research, you can learn by looking at things, looking at paintings, looking at works of other creatives, and what's also very important, appreciating the work of other creatives. And sometimes just saying, I really love it. And my next project that developed from this kind of sculptural idea of a human body was a project that I've been doing for the last 3 years. I've just completed it. And it turned into a book, so I'm very old-fashioned. There's no 3D printing and no app for it. It's just a printed book. So if anyone, I have it here, so if anyone would like to flip through it, go ahead after the presentation. And it started as a commission for a magazine from New York. And it's supposed to be an artist's dream or creative dream, and someone comes to you and says, you can do whatever you want. And then you think, what should I do? It has to be about the dreams. And at that time, I don't know, I was watching some Hitchcock films, and there is one film called Spellbound, and there is a scene in this film, a dream sequence that was designed by Salvador Dali. And it's a really weird kind of scene that you don't really know what's happening, and very, very strange characters running around. And I've decided, okay, I will just do a small editorial, and I did. They really loved it, and I loved it as well. And I started experimenting with neon light a lot, and I loved the idea of the effect. Of the light, because the people depicted looked very 2D, but at the same time very 3D. So all the work is done in camera. I use Photoshop in order to make this 5% really round, or prepare it for print, or prepare it for whatever presentation. But for me, craft is very important, and so I'm a completely opposite direction. Craft is very important, ideas are very important, and execution is very important. So my work is based on a huge amount of research in absolutely different fields. It can be, it can be fashion, but it can also be something completely abstract that has nothing to do with what I do. And I just get inspired by texture or by color, or I've seen something and, I don't know, hip-hop video, and I said, oh my God, those guys were really cool, and I saw some shapes, and this is enough for me to get inspired. So all those, I think the bearded woman is one, I think so, yeah, it's one of the first images. And it was a funny one. I will talk a little bit about the process, because every image is a completely different process. Some images, like the image in the middle, it was my ex-photo assistant. And she got pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant, and she came to me and said, listen, I would really love to have an image that I will always remember. Because I'm a photographer myself. I can, hold my belly, smile, but I want something unique. And this is a very unique time for me. It's my first child. So I would love to be part of the series. And I said, listen, this is incredible, because I've always wanted to photograph a woman painted in blue. The image will be called Supernova, and it will be exploding star giving birth to her child. And it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, let's do it. And I wanted to actually make this mask, because at the very, very beginning, I was making everything by myself. And this is also a very important thing for creative process. At the very beginning, you do everything by yourself because you can't afford people, you don't have enough money. So you're trying to make it all somehow wonky, but work for the image. But as the time passes, you are getting better and better, and of course you want to invite people who do what they do best. Maybe someone is amazing with makeup and hair, and you would never ever achieve it because you can't do it. Of course, I can sit there for a month, but it's not the point of it. In the end, it's all about the image. So, so I found by accident this mask by a Chinese designer who studied at St. Martin's, and I called her up, and she said, look, I'm leaving in 2 days. So you have to be very quick if you want to have this mask. So we shot it, and it was quite of a quick image because it was already so imprinted in my head that I exactly knew how to photograph. It took me 5 minutes in the end. And some images were very random, like for instance, the bearded woman. It is actually my makeup artist. And I said, look, you look absolutely amazing. I'm looking for characters. I want you to be part of my project. So she came in, we were trying different looks. Nothing worked, nothing at all. And then the actual makeup artist on the day, she had this beard in her bag. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, let's just play around with it. And it was really great because I think for the creative process, there are 4 components, I think, that are very important. It's space. So it's kind of, in this case, it was very closed-off space of a studio, but you need some kind of creative space when you can sit down, turn everything off, and just think. Just sit there, try to sit, actually. It's very difficult to sit somewhere for an hour without doing anything. It's absolutely difficult. You can't concentrate. You already started thinking about all those things you want to do. And the second thing is time, that you have to sometimes give yourself time to experiment, time to enjoy what you do, time to have failure, because many people completely reject failure, and this is part of the process. And also the third thing is the confidence, to be confident about, I have a certain level of creativity, I have a certain level of my visual tank that I have. And so in the end, I will manage, but now this is a journey, and how I will achieve, how I will go from point A to point B and achieve a strong image. And the fourth and very, very important component is homo ludens. So being a playful man, being a person who plays around, who just not afraid of going in a wrong direction, or also, I think what is very important, also sometimes responding to the team, not being very rigid about your ideas when you have a certain idea and it doesn't work, and you're pushing and pushing and it doesn't work, and maybe sometimes go to the left and to the right and see if there is any other solution. This series became quite popular, and I think it was also because there were 2 components that were very important. The first one was, I think, the color. I absolutely love color. I do lots of research about color, and Cooler is an amazing app for it as well. When you just see a painting or you see something and think, oh my God, I just absolutely love this color palette, why does it work? And then you see that certain colors, like reds, people respond to it way more than, for instance, to green. And that even if the images for me have kind of the same quality, still I can see that blues and reds always work, and work way, way better than yellow, for instance. And second thing, what I found really interesting, I don't know if you know about Behance, many people talked already about it. When the platform started, it's a platform for showcasing creative work. When this platform started, it was in a beta version, and I signed up for it, not really thinking much about it. I was like, okay, another Facebook or another platform, whatever. I just put some images there. And I completely forgot about it. And then I somehow, I don't know why, someone said, oh, do you know this platform Behance? I said, yeah, I'm on it, but I'm never checking it. So I logged in, and all of a sudden I look at it, and I have 25,000 followers. I'm thinking, ooh, when did this happen? And I realized that it's a very powerful tool in order to get feedback about your work and feedback about and connect with people. And at the very beginning, I think I found it a little bit difficult to estimate who is on this platform, what people are really doing, how creative they are. Is it really high-end creativity, or is it some people that are bored and drawing some, I don't know, it's boring maybe, I don't know. It was very difficult for me to see if I fit there. But then all of a sudden, so many amazing creatives starting using it, people who work for film, for special effects, for doing photography, animation, illustration, that it became really a platform where you can connect and you can exchange and you can have a real conversation with people. And I'm getting messages and talking about creative process, and many art directors and creative directors just sign up to get a profile in order to look for young talents or for inspiration. I don't want to say it's like an Pinterest, because it gives people credit. So you know who's doing it, who's collaborating with you. You can put a team together that collaborated on a certain project. And I find it really, really inspiring. Talking about collaborations, for me it was very difficult, I think for every creative is at the very beginning, to let go and to say at a certain point, okay, if I have to scale, my project doesn't scale. I can't get better and better. I need to get people on board. So collaborators became really, really important. And Genius is a collective genius. Many people have this preconception that there is a person sitting in a closed room and the muse comes and ideas happen like this. Oops, sorry. And but it's not. I think it's more about initiating an idea and work with your team and ping-ponging it and making it better and developing the idea as well. So it's very important to find your seniors, find the people with very, I don't know if it's even important if it's very similar visual language. It's probably more about quality, because sometimes it's even better when they have a completely different visual language. And to find to collaborate. And I collaborated with a few designers. This is all in camera as well. I developed the paint pattern, and then I worked with designers to create the hats, and then we worked with the painter to create painting on the body, and all with the Emily Pugh, with the wire artists, and the campaign for a designer that we, at a certain point, used her cutouts that she used for her actual pieces as a part of the set. And be a professional amateur. I think amateur has a very, very bad connotation. But actually, it's a person who's in love in what they do. And because there's no monetary there's no remuneration really, so you have nothing to lose. You are also not afraid really of failure. You are showing your work to everyone. You are really proud about it. And I think taking this to another level, to a professional level, that you fall in love with something and you are not afraid saying, you know what, I've never done this before, but this is so interesting. I really want to learn. And I think this can bring you to a completely different level. And my work, Topshop saw my work recently, and I did a collaboration. This was a second collaboration. I did 2 collaborations with them when I actually did visual merchandising. So there was nothing, it had nothing to do with photography. And the brief was modern geisha and cherry blossom. So I just had to create pieces for them for the installation. And after that, it was for Christmas, 2013. And then after, Selfridges saw my work and contacted me as a hair expert that I'm not, but they saw hair everywhere in my images. Many people ask me, where does it come from? I don't know. I think it's from Star Wars, but I'm not sure. But I absolutely love hair. And I created for them more of an installation work rather than photography. So for me, it was more about working with color. We're actually pasteling this hair with my assistants for almost 2 weeks in order to get it done. And then when you install it, you actually you can't see it from the outside because the window is closed off. So you have to imagine how it will look like. You see a small reflection, but it's very, very difficult. So it was for me very challenging because I didn't know till the day when they actually stripped the window down if it's going to work or not. And yeah. And the next thing, I know I have probably like 1 minute. So be inspired and inspire. For me, it was always very important, not even like finding a mentor, but to find an inspiration and people I love. So I think that you as a person also have to give something back and inspire people. And I would like to show you a few books that I think are very important for anyone who has something to do with creativity, or even if it's not creativity, maybe it's even more about life. Making Ideas Happen by Scott Belsky, who's part of Behance. Still Like an Artist and Show Your Work, very cute books, but very briefly tell you about what are the most important things in a creative process. Life is a pitch. It can be adapted to absolutely anything. Beyond the Lens is a very good book from Association of Photographers when you can actually, this is what I was missing when I was studying, all these things about model releases, about my copyright, about what if someone copies my image, what do I do, where do I go? So all this kind of business ideas, what is photography is a business, or whatever you do, illustration, this is a business, so you have to take care of your business, and very often after school, you have this you need this reality check. And so it's a really good book for it. Or for someone who really doesn't know what they want to do, Finding Your Element. And yeah, so know the rules and ignore them. Thank you.
Silvana will be popping into the tube to share with us some of the factors that helped to launch her career and make it so successful, so do stay tuned for that. And do also keep your tweets coming in to #CreateNow. Let us know what you think of what you've seen so far. Do also enter the competition. Here are the details coming up. Picture yourself being based here at the Village Underground in the heart of Shoreditch with tons of creative tools and assets at your fingertips. Sound good? Then this is the competition for you.
We're giving you the chance to win 3 months of workspace in this very tube. Plus 12 months membership to the Creative Cloud with all the latest creative apps and services. And a 12-month membership to the Fotolia image library to download and use up to 25 royalty-free image assets a month.
Wow, and as well as that, you'll also be getting your hands on a Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet for precision creative working. I think that's pretty much got it covered.
It certainly does.
All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning all of that is to tweet us a photo of you in the place where you currently work, wherever that may be.
Tweet your photo using the #CCWorkspace, and if you are the lucky winner, you can start your placement anytime between the 1st of September 2014 and the 31st of May 2015.
It's an incredible, unique collection of prizes and everything you need to kickstart your creative career.
So get tweeting those CC Workspace selfies right now.
Over 10 months in 2013, we asked 10 international artists to create and share 10 exclusive artworks. They did far more than that. How do they work? Where do they find inspiration? What can they teach you? exclusive concept. 10 Season 3.
I'm joined now by the fantastic Creative Cloud evangelists, Michael, Jason and Rufus, to do a little bit of Creative Cloud myth busting. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Sure. Thank
So
you.
the Creative Cloud has been around for a while now, but there are still a few misconceptions about it. So are you happy to run through a few of those now and put the record straight?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Here's the first one. I don't want to have to be connected to the internet to use my Creative Cloud desktop apps, and I don't want my applications to run in a browser. Who wants that one?
Well, I'll take that one because that's a very common myth. Many people still believe that they have to be connected constantly to the internet, and that's really not true. You have to connect sometimes just to check the membership, and if you're on an annual plan, that can be 90 days, 99 days without ever connecting to the internet. So all of the apps are actually downloaded to the machine, and you don't need to be online to actually use them.
Okay, great, thank you. So I think that's probably answered the next one, but let's just take a look at it. I work on location shoots, and if I can't authenticate via the internet, my apps won't work.
Yeah, again, you only have to authenticate at certain times. It's 99 days, like I just said, for the annual plan.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have to connect to the internet to upload your files or to sync your settings and things like that, of course you need the internet. But
yeah, and
to use the apps, you can freely do that without being ever connected.
And to access your files and your assets and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to run the actual applications themselves and to do your editing, it's all good. Okay, great. So the next one is, if I go with the Creative Cloud, I'm going to be forced to run the latest applications, and therefore my collaborators and my clients won't be able to keep up. Who wants that?
I'll take that one. So yeah, so again, we would never force an update upon you. And in fact, one of the nice things about the Creative Cloud for desktop application is that you can individually choose when an update is installed. And you'll be notified when updates come. And one of the benefits of being in this new agile development world is that you'll see things pop up periodically, but you don't have to update. You have a complete personal choice as to when that happens. And if you're using our enterprise or team plans or even education plans, you then have the ability to deploy updates to specific people in your organization. So you could allow the design department to have the latest update to Photoshop, but not the video department because they don't want to change anything until the edit is done. So no, you absolutely have complete control over when those updates are installed and how you install them.
Although Iona, one thing that I dream about is that there will come a time, you know now how people ask you, what version of InDesign are you using? Oh, can you backsave that for me? Well, there will come a time when we're all on the Creative Cloud and that issue will be completely gone.
Oh, it's a dream world we look forward to, absolutely. And of course, if you do have clients that are still on CS6, you've got access to all of those applications at the moment that you can run simultaneously with your CC apps, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, the next one. If I have a Mac and a PC, I'll have to buy 2 subscriptions to the Creative Cloud. That can't be right, surely.
No,
No, it's not right.
It's not
The end.
Yeah, now, I guess it was due to the old model when we used to buy boxes with the perpetual license. You had to say, okay, I am on the Mac, and if you migrate to PC, then you will have to buy another one. But what is very nice with Creative Cloud is that you can install it either on a Mac, on a PC, or both, because you can install it on 2 computers, actually.
Yeah. So you can have your desktop machine and your laptop, work away from the office. It's all about being able to work wherever you want. Right. Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so the next one up is, I only work with Lightroom and Photoshop, but I don't want to have to buy the entire package of the Creative Cloud subscription. What options do I have?
well, this is really awesome, Iona, because we introduced the new photography plan, which includes Photoshop, Lightroom, Lightroom Mobile, Photoshop Mix, storage and some of our other services, and now it's available to our users for £8.78 a month. And that's it. And it's a very easy way to get into using the applications that you know and love. And the flexibility of, if you want to eventually go to the full Creative Cloud, of course you can, but we really designed this to this very specific and very large audience of ours to make them happy, and I think it's working out great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic price point for all of that, and all of that connectivity between all of those applications as well. So I've got something about Lightroom Mobile now, which is fairly new release. Before this major release, it came out shortly before. Lightroom Mobile, how much does it cost and what does it do?
Well, how much does it cost?
It's free.
It's free!
Hooray! It's free!
Yes, it's absolutely included, and the beauty with Lightroom Mobile is that it works on the iPhone, on the iPad, and it connects to Lightroom on the desktop, and everything is synced.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great that this is a free application that can be linked to your desktop Lightroom.
Yeah. So, and with the Lightroom desktop, all you need to do is kind of specify which catalogs sync to your mobile app, right? And therefore you've got those.
Yeah, actually you
access.
create collections in Lightroom,
Yeah.
and then you can sync the collections. And what is really beautiful with this technology is that it won't send to the cloud the full picture, you know, it
Yeah.
will be like 20 megabytes per picture. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So it will generate a smart preview,
Yeah.
very small file, but you get all the data and you can preview and edit the pictures directly on your phone, on your iPad, and
Even use
And
the
it's
same
all
filters.
non-destructive still on the mobile app, isn't it?
All
So you can
non-destructive,
always go
yeah.
back to.
And thanks to the cloud, you can access this sync catalog not only from Lightroom Mobile, but from other applications such as Photoshop Mix, and play with your pictures.
Yeah.
Even on the Adobe.com website now, if you are signed in, you can access the pictures.
Yeah, it's really getting to the point where we can access everything from everywhere almost, isn't it, with this
Absolutely.
release? It's amazing. So thank you very much, guys, for clearing all of that up for us. Hopefully that's made things clear for those of you who are still new to the Creative Cloud. There's loads more information on the website, which is adobe.com/UK/Creative Cloud. So do check that out.
Hi, my name is Richard Curtis. I'm a solutions consultant here at Adobe, and my focus is digital imaging. There have been a whole host of new features in the 2014 release of Creative Cloud for photographers. And today, I'm going to show you some of the new features and techniques and how they can fit into a classic Photoshop workflow. The first element that we'll be talking through today is using Lightroom Mobile and working with our pictures on the go. There's a definite shift in the way that photographers want to view, work, edit and select their pictures and not be tied to the desktop as much as they have been. With the release of Lightroom Mobile for the iPad and the iPhone, it enables photographers to work on their raw files on their smartphones on the go in a much more liberated fashion. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom on the desktop. Now there's some images here that I shot on a recent trip. And what I'd like to do is work with these on my iPhone. So the first thing I need to do is to select all of the images, to create a new collection, give the collection a name, and we're going to tell Lightroom to include the selected photographs that I've just selected and then synchronize with Lightroom on my mobile devices. Okay, that's now going. You can see in the top left hand corner it's synchronizing 56 photographs to my phone. I'm going to go to my adobe.com profile. Now you can see when I log into adobe.com I get my personalized view of me and my creative identity. One of those points is my photos. I can click on here and it will take me to my Lightroom catalog in the cloud. And as the photographs are being synchronized via Lightroom, via the Creative Cloud, they appear in my web view. Okay, let's go over to the iPhone. You can see there we have Lightroom, and you can see there that my collection has already started synchronizing to my mobile device. I can just click on the thumbnail and you can see I get to see all of my pictures and I can scroll through them. To look at a picture, I just click on the picture itself and I get a preview. Now at the bottom of the screen on the left hand side we have a way to select and rank these pictures. I have a star at the moment, it says 0, so it's got 0 rating. If I click on it again I get the pick system. But I'm going to use the star system because that kind of integrates to my workflow. All I have to do is drag up the screen or down the screen and change the star rating, and then move to the next picture by swiping, and again select these pictures. Now I really like these pictures. They were shot in Bhutan, so I'm just going to use these because I'm going to work on these in a few minutes. You can see the activity at the top of the screen where all of my edits are now going up to Lightroom on the desktop. So this is all doing it for me. I'm not having to work very hard. And you can see there I have other work in here as well. So I'm just going to go to my adjustments now, and I can start opening up the shadows and the whites point. I can also change the black point and get the image somewhere where it needs to be. I can also zoom in and I can see a better resolution of that picture. Okay, so let's get back to Lightroom on the desktop. Now I've made my edits and my selections on my iPhone, so now all the edits have come through back into Lightroom on the desktop. You don't have to do anything, it's really simple. What I want to do now is show you a new feature inside Photoshop, and that's great for cutout, and that's called the focus area. If I look at these two images, by turning survey mode on, you can see that this is a much stronger picture, but I don't like this part of the scene over here. But I prefer the part of the scene over on this picture here, so I can very quickly cut this person out and replace the backdrop with this scene. And I think that will work pretty well with the focus area. So let's just do that now. I'm going to bring these two pictures into Photoshop and use the new focus area to cut out this person and drop this background in. So I'm going to right click, edit in Photoshop as layers. And now I'm going to tell Photoshop to pull this area out. Now I'm going to give it a helping hand. I'm going to use the marquee tool because I don't want this part here. So I'm not really bothered about that as part of the selection because I'm going to get rid of that later very quickly. So I use my marquee tool and use select focus area. Photoshop will look at the scene and pick out the in closest focus point and make a selection based upon that object being in focus. So I can keep my brush tool with the plus selected and just highlight the areas that I want Photoshop to fill in based upon the depth of field. Okay, it's done a great job with that. I haven't really got to do more, so that's going to save me a lot of time on cutting out. I'm going to output this to a new layer with a layer mask and press OK. And you can see that actually the mask needs to be changed a little bit. So I need to go to the mask very quickly and just reset my foreground background colors. Select the brush. I'm going to paint with black. I want to hide this person from the scene. So by painting with black, I'm going to change the mask and paint out this area. Now I need to change the mask again to white and paint back in the sky. And there you have it. There's my cutout. Now there's one other element that I want to fix before I leave this picture, and that is the person walking out of the frame. I'm just going to create a new empty layer, and I'm going to choose the content aware patch tool. Make sure the patch tool is in content aware mode and then open up the adaptation. In here we've got now the color. So this will now do color matching when I'm doing content aware. So let's just try it now with 0. This isn't going to do any color matching at all. I'm just going to mark the areas that I want Photoshop to blend in and drag this to a new area. So I'm going to pick an area over here. I'm just going to try the color mode, see if I can get a better selection. So while that's still selected, I'm going to go to color and put a 3 in. And you see I get a much better fill. It's actually using the color of the destination area as well as the content from the source area and blend those two together. So there we have it. There's a really nice way of using the focus area to cut things out and replace the background. Really fast, it's going to save you a lot of time. One feature that I'm super excited about in the 2014 release of Photoshop is the ability to export my adjustment layers as a 3D lookup table. Now, I like to shoot video as well as stills, and I like to give my videos the same look and feel as my stills. But I also edit in both Premiere and in Photoshop. So typically, a film grader will use something like speed grade to create a look to a film that will affect the shadows and the highlights and the color temperature and the color balance. But in Photoshop world, we just use this as our adjustment layers. So I need to be able to bridge the gap. So what I'm going to do is just open this picture up inside Photoshop and show you this great new feature. I already have the look that I want to put on this picture. It's a black and white platinum tone, and that's in another file, in another PSD. So I'm just going to open that file. And you can see there we've got quite an edgy black and white. So I'm just going to drag this out for a second. And I have in here some folders, and in those folders I have the actual processing. So I've got my color tone that I'm creating for this image, I've got my platinum effect all on new adjustment layers, and I've got a tone. So all I need to do is to take these and drag these over into the image that I want to work on, and you can see there now that I create the black and white look on the picture. Now I really like that. Now I may want to share that with other people, or maybe even sell this look. But I also want to be able to apply it on the video or on other PSDs. Now I can do that very easily now inside Photoshop by exporting those adjustment layers as 3D lookup tables. So a 3D lookup table is available under File, Export, Color Lookup Tables. And I'm going to export this in all the different formats, and I'm going to place that in a folder that I already have created. I'll call it BW Look and press Save. Let's open the piece of video footage. I can open the video footage straight into Photoshop, and you see there that I have my footage playing.
When I think of play, I think of my...
Okay, now what I'm going to do is to add that color lookup table as an adjustment layer to this piece of footage. I'll go to Layer, Adjustment Layer, Color Lookup, and pick up the new LUT. So on the desktop, it's called BW, and I can pick any of the 3DL, the CSP, or the cube file, pick up the 3DL, and open it. And you see there
childhood,
now,
and when I think of my childhood, I think of like when there was...
Now you see there now I've applied the same look to my video as in the still. Now it may be that actually I want to use Premiere Pro. So let's open up this project inside Premiere. So the great thing about 3D lookup tables is that they're transferable between applications. I can even bring it to SpeedGrade if I wanted to do. So here we have the main file. I'm going to add an adjustment layer. So click on Add Adjustment Layer, create a new layer, and drag this into the timeline and just stretch that out. And I'm going to go to the effects and add what's called a Lumetri effect. Here it is. Pick up the Lumetri effect and drop it onto the adjustment layer. And now I'm going to pick up exactly the same process that was created in Photoshop.
To me, when I say play, it means to play pretend, you know, to make believe, to be a visionary.
And here we have exactly the same look and feel in Premiere, all built from Photoshop. That means that any DSLR filmmaker or any video maker is able to now start to grade in Photoshop and have that look applied to their edits in any application that supports 3D looks. Really exciting. So I want to show you this image and a new feature in Camera Raw inside Photoshop. I'm going to make some quick adjustments in Lightroom to this picture. So go to my development module. I'm going to go to my white point and set that white point and see where it starts to clip. And the black point, pull that black point in. But it's not really giving me enough detail in that sky. I'm going to edit in Photoshop as a smart object. I want to make it all non-destructive, and using smart objects is a great way of doing that. So now I have a smart object. You can see by the little icon on the background layer. I can go into Filters and Camera Raw Filter, and now I employ the Camera Raw as a filter. Now I'm going to use my gradient filter. I'm going to darken the sky over here. So I'll pull my gradient in. I can turn the mask on and off, but you can see there's my mask. But you can see that when I do that, and I pull in that area over the sky, I start to hit the tree as well. We've got a new feature in here, which is the brush, and I can turn the brush on. I'm going to press Shift and K to turn that on, and I have the brush. Now I can press the minus sign, and I can now change the size of the brush and paint out areas of the mask that I don't want to be part of this scene. Can also paint in. So now I'm left with a mask that's really tailorable from a gradient filter. Super cool. And I'm going to put the background, put another mask in on the grass, and just darken the grass down slightly as well. So you can see there now, here's my edit. The tree really gives some pop to the image, and it really stands out on its own. So press OK. Now it may be that I want to use my 3D lookup that I just created on this picture as well and see what that looks like. And again, I can do the same thing as I did with the video previously and go to a layer, new adjustment layer, color lookup, and load the look file in. And now I get this really cool kind of black and white graphic look to my image, almost like an infrared look. So you can see how that 3D look is highly transportable between different images, and it's really easy to create using Photoshop using your adjustment layers. Okay, so I want to show you a super cool way of adding watermarks to your pictures. Now you see here, I've got my watermark as a PSD file, and I have multiple pictures that I'd like to apply the watermark to. So let's just open those inside Photoshop, right-click, edit, Smart Objects inside Photoshop, and this will bring all 4 pictures into different canvases. Great, they're all here. Let's go to the first one quickly. So I'm going to go to Place Linked. And in Place Linked, I'm going to open up the signature and place the signature onto my picture, just somewhere there. And I can do exactly the same thing on the others. Now the great thing about using linked smart objects is that I'm not embedding the actual physical PSD into this file, it's just a reference to it. Okay, so here we have it. So there's my edit done. Now I'm reusing my signature in multiple places. The great thing about the 2014 release when using linked smart objects is the ability to use something called layer comps. So I'm going to go and edit the content of this linked object. And you can see down here I have layer comps. Layer comps are really recorded positions of elements in my PSD. So I have a white background with black text, a white background with purple text, and different options depends on how I want my logo to look in different places. Close that down for a second. The great thing is that these layer comps now come through as part of this linked smart object. So now I can apply them in the properties panel, and I can say, well, actually this wants to be a white background with black text. If I go to my other ones over here, it may be that these need to be half transparent with white text, and maybe another one has something else. So you can see I'm using the same PSD file across multiple files with different look and feels that I can use across all my comps. And the beauty is that if something changes in that smart object, I just need to go back into those PSD files that are using it and update them. Really simple, really easy. So it means that you're not locked into a logo that you've used for years. You can refresh your logo on different pictures and also have different layer styles as well. So really super cool. Okay, one of the last things I want to talk about is the perspective warp that came into Photoshop for Creative Cloud just before 2014 release. So I'm going to edit this picture inside Photoshop. One of the problems when you're comping images is that the images that you're trying to bring together will have different perspectives. And that can be quite difficult to achieve in just standard Photoshop. So with Photoshop for Creative Cloud, we've got something called perspective warp. Let's take our train here. Our train's on a separate layer. Again, it's a smart object, so it's editable. And I can just go into my Edit, Perspective Warp, and then in Photoshop, just draw the geometry of the train. And then I'm just going to match up the areas of the perspective to the perspective grid, and then tell the perspective grid to actually move the train and make it fit on the track. And there we go. A super cool way of using perspective warp when comping elements together in a Photoshop file. So we think that's going to save artists that do a lot of compositions a whole lot of time when they're working with perspective in their pictures. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is Behance and how we can use Behance to share our content and get feedback from others inside our creative community. And this really helps us get better at our craft and give us new ideas and be able to start collaborating with other people. Okay, let's set this picture here. I'm going to share this on Behance. I'm going to make a new work in progress to start collaborating with the community and with people that I trust to give me some good feedback. So down here on the canvas at the bottom, I'm going to share on Behance. It's also available on the Share on Behance in the File menu. I'm going to create a new work in progress. I'm going to put 2 work in progresses up, one black and white and one colour, and just see what the reaction is from people that I trust. Okay, so I'm going to call this was in the Peak District, so I'm going to call it Dovedale, and I can give it some tags, and I can say Peak District, Dovedale, please help decide on the colour or black and white. I'm going to make it visible to either everyone or private, and then I'm going to press continue. I'm going to skip this for a second, but I can promote this on social networks to really raise the profile of this picture. But then what I also want to do is add another revision to this. So I'm going to create a new adjustment layer using the colour lookup that we looked at before, and I'm going to bring up a P3D look I used. I'm going to use that from the desktop, and I'm going to give it a kind of really cool and edgy black and white. And again, I'm going to go into my Behance and share on Behance, just using the little icon on the bottom of the screen. Make a revision. I'm going to choose Dovedale and then continue. Again, I can then share that out with the community. Now the great thing is I can review this on my iPad, or I can actually review it straight to my desktop using the new Behance work in progress. So you see here I can upload content or capture the screen, but I can click on that content and I can look at my revisions directly in my desktop with this new panel. So you can see how I've got my colour version and I've got my black and white version. So now if I go to my iPad, I can pick up my Behance portfolio wherever I am. I can just log in there, and it'll log me into my creative identity. I can then go to me and go to my work in progress, and I can see exactly the same work in progress here on my iPad or on my iPhone. So you can see I'm always able to get my content wherever I am, when I'm on the go or when I'm at the desktop. So that's only a few of the features available in the 2014 release of Photoshop for Creative Cloud. And we think it's a great release, and we think it's going to get you really started. Thanks very much, and we'll see you soon.
So now you may have noticed I'm currently sitting in the middle of a giant poster. Now this has been created by artist Eric Johansson with just a little bit of help from Photoshop CC. The installation's been running throughout the show here in the main space at the Village Underground, and I can actually see and interact with anybody who's looking at the poster. So let's take a little bit of a look now behind the scenes as to how it all works.
To me, it's always important to challenge myself to come up with new ideas and try to do something that hasn't been done before. My name is Eric Johansson, and this is the Living Poster Experiment.
Picture yourself being based here at the Village Underground in the heart of Shoreditch with tons of creative tools and assets at your fingertips. Sound good? Then this is the competition for you.
We're giving you the chance to win 3 months of workspace in this very tube. Plus, 12 months membership to the Creative Cloud with all the latest creative apps and services. And a 12-month membership to the Fotolia image library to download and use up to 25 royalty-free image assets a month.
Wow, and as well as that, you'll also be getting your hands on a Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet for precision creative working. I think that's pretty much got it covered.
It certainly does.
All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning all of that is to tweet us a photo of you in the place where you currently work, wherever that may be.
Tweet your photo using the hashtag #CCWorkspace, and if you are the lucky winner, you can start your placement anytime between the 1st of September 2014 and the 31st of May 2015.
It's an incredible, unique collection of prizes and everything you need to kickstart your creative career.
So get tweeting those CC Workspace selfies right now.
I'm absolutely delighted to be joined in the tube now by our fantastically talented photographer, Silvana. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
The first thing I'd love to know is the story behind your professional name. What does it mean?
Well, I came with this name, Madame Peripetie, when I was studying political sciences.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't want my photography to be associated with what I do.
Yeah.
So after finishing my course, I came to London and worked for theatre. And Peripetie means in a play a turning point, and for me photography was a turning point.
Yeah.
My background was in linguistics before, then in politics, and after I completely changed my approach and finally found a medium as well to implement my visual ideas.
And your photographic work is very theatrical, isn't it? It's very bold
Yes.
and bright. Can you talk us through some of your early work and how you came to develop your style?
I was always inspired by sculpture and by painting, art in general, not especially photography, but different kind of art. And I stumbled across work of Erwin Wurm. It's an Austrian artist that makes sculptures out of people. And one of the first of my sculptural work was based on his piece of work called 1 Minute Sculpture, when people were in an urban space, were given a certain object and they had to create with this object a sculpture of themselves.
Yeah.
And so my idea was to give my participants or models 10 different, completely unrelated objects, from raw eggs, toast breads, balloons, tights, and they had to create a sculpture out of themselves for 15 minutes. And without a mirror, without scissors, and without the glue.
Amazing.
So this had to hold for enough time for me to take a picture. And at that time I was photographing with large format camera, and I only had 2 slides of film. So it was very tricky, and everyone was asking me, are you sure what happens if you don't catch the image? And I was so sure about it. So, listen, this is planned, and we'll get there. And actually it was quite interesting to see how creatively, how people can work creatively with materials. So people who are creative, they had a more abstract approach. And people who were not that creative were very literal in what they were doing. So for me as a creative process, to observe other people was very interesting. Can I show you the other?
Yeah, oh, look at that, it's amazing. So there are the balloons and straws in there, right?
Balloons with raw eggs inside.
Excellent.
Yeah, so some of them were really, really funny, and it was very interesting to observe that.
Yeah, and you've got a very strong creative identity, haven't you? How important is that to you and your career?
It's very important. I think that there is so much out there at the moment, and you always have to find your niche and see what you can do best, what you can work with best. And I always loved color and always loved characters, and before I started linguistics, I was an absolute, my teenage years, I was an absolute nerd, going to every convention possible. So of course there is an influence from science fiction, a lot that I love implementing, and and I think that it helps you to stand out a little bit and to be I mean, it's all about being authentic and true to yourself, and in the end people will see it, and that the style kind of develops. I'm not thinking too much about it. It's more about I have certain ideas in my head that I need to find a medium for to visualize. But but I think identity is very important. I think the name is important, the identity is important, who you collaborate with, and how, I don't want to say picky, but how immaculate you are about your choices, who you are working with on, and what you are working on.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, actually, we were talking about your name earlier, and being able to stand out in that way, that stood you in such good stead, didn't it, with the first agent that you worked with, right?
It was quite a funny experience, because I just finished my course in Germany, and I've decided I'm coming to London, not thinking too much about it, and I found it more easy probably to find people that could relate to my work in England.
Right.
So I've decided, okay, what I will do, I will just send my work to the best agent I can find. So I was going through all the agents, and I didn't want to have an agent that's only focusing on fashion, because I'm not really a fashion photographer. I work with Bodzi, but I'm not really a fashion photographer. So I was looking at agents that represent musicians, agents that represent really big photographers, and and he's an agent who's 30 years in business, and there's only one interview with him on YouTube. And I've decided, well, everything he says really relates to my work, and I will just send him a portfolio. And I know that he never responds, because he has so many requests, and he never gives anyone a call. So he called me within half an hour.
Amazing.
And it was really funny, because I said, I'm really sorry, I'm going away for 2 weeks now. And even my friends were saying, are you serious? He really called you and you're going away.
And he called you because of...
He called me because of the name. Because he was really intrigued by my name, and what I liked about it, that he didn't know what to expect at all. So I think this is what I like about my name. Very often people expect someone who is over 50, or expect a French person, or so I really like that.
The ambiguity almost of it,
you can't put it in a box. So this is actually what I like a lot about it.
Fantastic. Can we talk a little bit now about how you work with the Adobe tools? Because I know you work obviously with Photoshop a lot, but you've also got a background with Behance, haven't you?
Yes. I joined Behance a few years back when it was in a beta version. And I wasn't thinking too much about it. You know, it's like a new platform that you think I would just upload my work, we'll see what happens. And I wasn't thinking too much about it. I completely forgot about it. And then I rejoined again, so to say, a year later. And I was under an utter shock seeing how many followers I have, because I never really paid attention to it. And then I realized that people really give you good feedback about your work, and that you can connect with people. At the very beginning, it was maybe very vague in terms of who is actually on this platform, who is presenting the work, how good the work is. But then more and more people who are working professionally in film, in animation, in photography, graphic design, starting using the platform, and it became really interesting for me. And I noticed as well that many art directors or creative directors are going on the website looking for new talents, asking for collaborations, looking for visual inspiration. So for me, it became really important to use it in terms of finding out what people actually think about your work, because they can comment on it, that can give you feedback, and you can connect straight away, they can send you a message. So I find it in terms of estimating how the images would work in the future really good.
Gives you a really good gauge as to how they're going to be received. And do you also get work through the art directors that you mentioned?
Well, I don't know. It's very difficult to say sometimes if you actually directly get the work, but I get lots of connections. I met incredible people through Behance, and and I even invite my friends, telling them, or my collaborators, listen, if you have a profile, I can connect you with my profile. So it was also very good promotion for my book that just came out, because I could reach 10,000 people instead of maybe posting it on Facebook or showing a few people around. So I think in terms of feedback and how many people people see it, and also from all corners of the world.
And you use Behance as well to find collaborators yourself on projects, don't you? Yeah.
Yes, I do, definitely.
Great, great. Well, I'm delighted that you've been using it for all this time and that it's helping you in what you do. It's really good to hear. So what you do isn't just photography, is it? There's more to your kind of toolbox and skills.
Yes, I really love expanding because I love learning. And I think if you change field a little bit, you don't have to change it completely, but a little bit, you meet people you normally wouldn't meet. So recently I did a project for Topshop for the visual merchandising, so I was actually physically making things, not really related to photography. And then Selfridges saw my work in Topshop, and I created a window for the beauty project about the hair. And funnily enough, they asked me about my expertise about hair, and I'm not a hairstylist. So I think it's more about me being booked for some kind of visual
It's the visual identity again, isn't it?
That's creative direction and maybe certain way how I work with color and shape of the body.
And how important is color to you?
It's very important. It's very important. I always study paintings and study work that has beautiful color. I think it's a powerful weapon, powerful. And you know, also history of color, which color is the most important one, that red comes across completely different as a green image. And I just see sometimes if I have lots of red components, the image is way more popular than when I have an image that has green components, even if it's for myself. They are equally strong, but for the audience, it's always the image that has red components draws more attention. So I think this is very important, and also how the colors are combined together, and how much percentage of color is in the image, and complementary colors, how they work together. So it is a very important tool for me.
And you work with Photoshop a lot in order to...
Yes, I work with Photoshop a lot. I discovered Cooler.
It's fantastic,
very cool app. So I was like walking around and taking pictures absolutely everywhere. So no, it's a really good tool if you find a painting or you find some color palette that you really love.
To extract those really key components from.
To extract it, and also to
save it as well and use it in your applications.
Of course. So I find it really important, and also to even flip through all the profiles of different users and to see what they have extracted, even in terms of research, not even implementing them in your image.
Fantastic. And I know that you always have lots of personal projects going on at any one time, don't you? How important is that, do you think?
It's very important, because for me it's expanding the creativity. And I think creativity is a muscle. It's like a gym, you have to train it, you have to have your muscle memory build up, and then you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. And if you don't do it, you can't be spontaneous on shoot. And it helps you to just let it go and just do whatever. There's no failure, there's no wrong direction, so you can experiment a lot. And I absolutely love collaborations and putting people together, and maybe people that have nothing to do with what I do, because then they come up with really good ideas.
And do you find off the back of these personal projects, do you actually get paid work as well that comes as a result?
I think that projects like this are very important, and I think that even agents in advertising agencies, they want to see personal projects, because they want to see you in what you are doing, if there is something behind it, what interests you, why are you doing it, because this influences your commercial work. And very often commercial work is very plain, so they need some kind of persona behind it, so you have your resources when you can get your energy from. So I think they are very important.
And you can do your slightly more avant-garde, sort of more risk-taking work that they can be inspired by, that you can then kind of take
and take it, and I can, you can use 5% of this creativity, but it's there. So they know they have a pool of certain ideas they can choose from.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Fantastic. So the final thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have any advice for people starting out in the industry? Tell us, what's the secret to your success?
I think it's perseverance. It's challenging yourself, and being bold in your choices sometimes, and not be afraid. But I think it's really, really hard work, and many students ask me if there is a way. There is no one way, but I think to do lots of research and to know which direction you want to go. And I see it from the very, very beginning of people's career, when even on this stage when people apply to be my assistant or to do internship. And there are certain people who are so well prepared. They know my work, they know why I'm doing things, they know who am I working with, who my team is, so they're very well prepared. And people who just give it a go. But I think it's primarily hard work, staying true to yourself, but always aim for the best quality you can get. And I think always working with people that are better than you.
Very wise words indeed. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. That's been really fantastic, and we loved your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's all we have time for, but there's plenty more to come, as this is the first of 4 UK 2014 Creative Cloud launch shows.
It certainly is, so do join us live for the design, video and web shows, or catch up on what you've missed at adobe.com/go/create-now-UK. Thank you very much indeed to all of our fantastic presenters, and a big massive thank you to you guys for watching, and we hope to see you soon. Picture yourself being based here at the Village Underground in the heart of Shoreditch, with tons of creative tools and assets at your fingertips. Sound good? Then this is the competition for you.
We're giving you the chance to win 3 months of workspace in this very tube. Plus 12 months membership to the Creative Cloud with all the latest creative apps and services. And a 12-month membership to the Photolia image library to download and use up to 25 royalty-free image assets a month.
Wow, and as well as that, you'll also be getting your hands on a Wacom Intuos Pro medium tablet for precision creative working. I think that's pretty much got it covered.
It certainly does.
All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning all of that is to tweet us a photo of you in the place where you currently work, wherever that may be.
Tweet your photo using the hashtag #CCWorkspace, and if you are the lucky winner, you can start your placement anytime between the 1st of September 2014 and the 31st of May 2015.
It's an incredible, unique collection of prizes and everything you need to kickstart your creative career.
So get tweeting those CC Workspace selfies right now.